Lately, nothing you try seems to land. One thing goes wrong, then the next, and you are the one standing in the middle of all of it. The bad turns come one after another. Each one lands on the same line, your line, and pushes it lower. You did not ask for any of them, and you cannot see them coming. They simply arrive, and they keep arriving. After enough of them, the run stops feeling like a string of accidents. It starts to feel like a direction, like something that is being done to you on purpose, and a single thought keeps surfacing, that this keeps happening to you. So you start to look for the reason, and the reason is not hard to find. You look back over all of it, every bad turn, and one thing sits inside every single one. You. You were there for all of them. The jobs, the luck, the timing changed from one to the next, but you were the constant. And when the only thing common to all of it is you, it stops feeling like chance. It feels aimed. It feels like a verdict, and the verdict is about you. So you put yourself on trial. You go back through each decision, looking for the flaw that explains the whole run. You are building the case against yourself, and it is going well. Then, at the very start, where your line began, a second faint line flickers into view. It begins exactly where you began, and it goes somewhere else entirely. You did not draw it, and it makes you stop, because it raises a possibility you had not allowed. Maybe this was never about you. Maybe it was about the way the whole thing runs. Watch what happens at the start. A whole crowd of lines pushes off from the exact spot where yours began. They all start the same, with the same footing and the same odds, and then they begin to drift apart. No one is steering them. They fan out on their own, some climbing, some sinking, and the longer they run, the wider the gap between the highest and the lowest grows. Find your line in the crowd. It is one of the low ones, sitting near the bottom of the fan. Nothing set it there but the drift. They all started the same and still spread out this far, so where you landed is the spread, not you. Now take hold of how far the lines are allowed to swing and turn it up. The fan widens in front of you. The high lines go higher, the low lines sink deeper, and the worst runs get noticeably worse. Watch the middle while you do it. The middle does not move. The average stays exactly where it was, and every line still gets the same fair push. Nothing here is rigged, and nothing is aimed. You have only made the swings larger. So the depth of a bad run is just how wide the swings are allowed to be. Turn the swing up and the bad luck deepens, and not one part of the game becomes unfair. Step back from the swings and just watch a long string of good and bad turns roll out, the way a fair coin lands. Mark every bad stretch as it appears. They are everywhere. Short ones, and now and then a long one, a clump of bad that runs and runs before it breaks. Count the longest one. A bad streak the length of yours is not rare in a fair run. It is exactly the kind of clump a fair run produces. Now stretch the whole thing out longer and watch the longest bad streak grow with it. The more turns you live through, the longer the worst clump has to get. Your streak was not singled out. It is what a long fair run looks like from the inside. Fine, you say. The crowd swings and clumps, but this run was mine. So stay on your line and run your own life again from the same start, under a fresh roll of luck each time. The histories fan open in front of you, every way it could have gone for you. The same person, different luck. Look where most of them land. They cluster around the middle, ordinary and unremarkable. Only a few sink as low as the one you actually lived through this time. The life you are sitting in is one of the low branches of your own tree. Run it again, and you usually come out fine. The same you, under a kinder roll, would barely recognize this stretch as yours at all. So if it was the swings and the clumps and the roll of the luck, something still does not add up. It still feels like it is about you. And here is where that comes from. Lay out every bad thing that happened, side by side, and start swapping out the pieces. Change the people, the timing, the luck, all of it, and watch them shuffle. One thing will not move, no matter how much you change. You. You are in every single one, because you are the one who is always there. So when your mind asks what they all have in common, the answer it lands on is always you. Not because you caused them, only because you are the one thing that was never swapped out. The feeling that it is about you comes from standing in the middle of it, and that is not proof of anything about you at all. And there is something on top of that, making it feel even heavier than it already is. Look at how the run is stored in memory. Each loss gets weighted by how much it stung, so the painful ones are saved large and kept close. The quiet wins, the days things simply worked, barely register and slip away. So when you look back, you are not seeing the real mix of good and bad. You are seeing a reel built mostly from the worst of it. The run was bad. Your memory of it is worse, because you kept the losses and let the wins go. Now ask the practical question. How much should a run like this change what you believe about yourself? Start with an honest, open guess, and let the bad run come in as evidence. Update on it, carefully and correctly, the way you should. Two answers move. One is the honest answer, the most that this evidence can fairly support. It barely shifts, a small nudge, because a single run from one life is thin evidence. The other is the answer you actually feel, and it swings all the way over to it, is me. The gap between them is the whole problem. You have been settling your verdict on yourself using the answer that swung, when the run could only ever earn the answer that barely moved. Pull all of it back into one picture, the crowd of lines fanning out from a single start, the wide spread of where they end, your own run sitting low in the tail of it. You have been watching this one thing the whole way through, under every example, without a name for it. Now the name settles onto the picture. What you have been living inside is variance. The word does not add anything you did not already see. It only labels the spread you have felt since the very first crowd of lines. You understood the thing long before you had the word for it, and now the word simply rests on what you already knew. Now move the camera. Pull far enough back to see the whole crowd of runs at once. From out here, it is even. For every run that sank, one rose to match it. The lows and the highs cancel, and the average sits flat at the center, calm and balanced. The bad luck has nowhere to hide out here because it sums to nothing. Now drop back down into your single line. From inside it, the run does not cancel. It sank and it stayed sunk, real the whole way. Both pictures are true at once, and every scene before this was the same gap, the distance between the calm whole crowd and the one run you are living from the inside. Now take all three at once. How wide the swings are allowed to be, how long the run goes on, how hard your memory leans on the losses. Put your hand on them together and keep your eye on the little readout of the verdict, the line that says what this stretch means about you. Nudge the first dial and the verdict reads back, you are unlucky. A small push on the next, and it changes its mind, now you are failing. Slide them the other way and it flips again, you are fine. You were always fine. The verdict will not hold still. It rewrites itself with every nudge, and through all of it, you, the actual you, never change once. There was never a fixed verdict sitting in the run waiting to be read. The verdict belongs to the variance, not to you. Come back to ground level, to a single bad thing landing on a single ordinary day. Something is different now. As it lands, the whole crowd of other runs comes back with it, the wide spread it was drawn from, settling in behind the one line you are living. You are not choosing to picture it. It just arrives on its own. Every time something goes wrong, the spread shows up behind it. The bad turn is still real, and it still stings. But it no longer arrives alone, as a clean message about you. It arrives as one draw out of a wide spread you can finally see. And the question you reach for changes on its own. The old one was, what is wrong with me? And it sent you back into the case against yourself. Now your attention goes somewhere else first. Before you read any verdict into a bad run, you find yourself asking where this run sits inside the spread and how much of it was simply the spread. You are not reaching for comfort and not for an excuse. You are reaching for the more accurate question. The bad run still happened, and some of it may be yours to learn from. But the first question was never what is wrong with you. It was how much of this was ever about you at all. Let the whole thing stand together now, and hold it. The single start where your line began. The wide spread of every run that left with you. Your own line, low in the tail, the one you actually walked. And right at the center, the one piece that never moved through any of it. You, the constant in all of it. You can see why it felt like it was about you. You were standing in the middle of all of it the entire time. And you can see why that feeling claimed too much. The middle is just where you stand. It was never the cause. You can hold the run differently now, and holding it differently turns you toward the next thing worth asking.